So this video is going to be on a Jewish proverb I just read this morning where it says, a wise man knows what he speaks and a fool speaks what he knows. And I just want to investigate this and think to myself, well, why would it be that a wise man would know what he speaks and a fool would speak what he knows? What is going on here? What's the meta pattern? So I think ultimately, you should know what you're talking about. You should definitely understand a lot of what it is you're speaking of, and you should understand what the consequences of that will likely be. I'm not saying this in the latest, most popular sense, which is that people should just not say things that bother the government because political correctness. I think that is bad. I think that we should have a very disagreeable society that questions the government. But basically, I think that it's just good to understand what you're talking about. But then a fool speaks what he knows. This is interesting. So the reason this stands out to me is because I'm kind of doing this on my YouTube channel. I'm kind of just speaking what I know. I'm like, what is it? Or I'm not necessarily speaking what I know, but I'm trying to figure out more of what I know by speaking. So what could potential negative ramifications of that be? I guess people could figure out what it is I'm up to, and then they would know what it is I'm likely to do, and then they could probably do something to stop me. I don't know. I'm not that paranoid, mostly because I understand that, quite frankly, people watching YouTube videos probably aren't trying to take down YouTubers. Like, I think that most of the time the negative energy is very reactionary and it doesn't have that long of an attention span. So it's like all the people who went after Jordan Peterson, none of them actually watched his videos. If they actually watched his videos, they would have understood more of what Jordan Peterson was about. So from my perspective, I see this as being largely beneficial for me because I'm going to talk about what I know about. And that way, if people ever try to cancel me, they ever try to be like, oh, Devin Young, blah, blah, blah. There's this massive repository of information that I've shared, so you can go back to it and you can actually figure out for yourself what I'm about. Because ultimately, it seems like you can't really raise yourself above the possibility of slander or libel by not publishing your ideas. So the only way forward seems to me to be publishing my ideas. So why would a fool speak what he knows? It could be in certain negotiations, but then again, I don't really like zero-sum games. Like, I find that if I'm in a zero-sum game, I'm going to try to leave the zero-sum game because it's just sort of like if I have to, screw you over person in front of me, then that's not really, I don't like that. I just don't like that because now I'm in this mode, I can't be honest with people. If I can't be honest with people, then I have to divert my attention away from the truth to a lie, which is just, for all intents and purposes, not very useful for me because now I'm not thinking about reality. And it's ultimately, I don't know, even let's say you never get caught lying, or you never get caught trying to manipulate people. Well, people are still going to get some vague impression that you're manipulating them, that you're not being entirely honest with them, or at least they're not going to get the impression that you are being entirely honest with them. And because of this, that you'll end up, I believe, doing worse off in your life over the course of your life than you would otherwise. Some people would disagree. They'd be like, no, but it's like, then you're condemning your bloodline. Ultimately, birds come home to roost. And I would just rather focus on the parts of reality that truly aren't a zero-sum game. If we're on a hunt, it's not a zero-sum game. We could get a really big elk, we could get a small elk, we could get no elk, we could get 2 elks. Or we could both die. It's there's a lot of different possibilities here. that are better and worse for both of us. So if I'm in a scenario with someone, let's say, where like there's just one elk, and it's like, because I'm just like, there really never is just one elk. It's like, what are you, hungover? Like, come on, like there's more resources out there somewhere, like just go find them. And I say that, what are you, hungover, for a reason, because like when I would drink alcohol, I stopped drinking alcohol because it gave me cavities, and also like just destroyed my gut and sleep issues and stuff. But like when I was drinking alcohol, I just like, it makes me very mentally lazy. I can't really, just really makes me mentally lazy. It really like destroys my ability to like be sharp and snappy. So I don't like alcohol for that reason. And I feel like a lot of the zero-sum games of life come from alcohol in some sense. Like people just allow themselves to be in low energy level states where they can't think creatively about how they could get a bigger pie. Like there's ultimately always a bigger pie. And if there isn't, like, go find the bigger pie. Like there is a bigger pie. There is a way to combine resources to make the resources worth more than the sum of their parts. Like that is just, I mean, I'm driving a car right now. Like this is a world of possibility. If this wasn't a world of possibility, I wouldn't be driving a car. So this is where I think that there's power in speaking what you know, because if I'm speaking what I know, maybe I'll come across other people who are speaking what they know. And then by both of us communicating honestly and openly about what we know, we can work together to create new technologies, to implement existing technologies more effectively, to use our networks more effectively, to use the resources around us more effectively. Like there's lots of stuff that can be done if you're speaking what you know. I mean, I think that, so this is, I mean, you want to be careful though, obviously. I mean, I think that there's a point where just spilling all your beans, like spilling the beans, could be potentially bad. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think most of the time it's, well, a wise man knows what he speaks, a fool speaks what he knows. I guess a fool has no other option than to speak what he knows. I mean, we all kind of only speak what we know, and we must speak what we know to know of what we speak. So maybe it's a consciousness-unconsciousness issue. It's more so that the fool just reflexively spills the beans, whereas the wise man knows what he's accomplishing by speaking. And this could be even in the situation of a conversation where instead of just talking about what you know and not allowing the other person a chance to speak, or not seeing if they have anything to say, you kind of realize what it is that's going on, what you're talking about, and you know what you're speaking of. Like, you know what it is that your words are affecting in the other person's mind, and as a result of that, you can be more effective in your speech versus just iterating a series of facts that you have memorized. I think it's interesting. I definitely am curious to see the outcome of sharing all this information on YouTube and seeing what happens as a result of it. I think it'll largely be good. I mean, I think that, I don't know, I think I'm betting on attention span. Like, if I were just making TikToks, if I turned all this information I'm sharing on YouTube into TikToks, I have no doubt that it would probably come back to bite me because of attention span. I think that it's easier to get outraged over a 60-second clip. It's easier to demonize someone over a 60-second clip. It's easier to hate someone over a 60-second clip than over a 10-minute clip over a longer video of that person actually talking out their ideas. So, and I ultimately believe that by me sharing my ideas, like, even in, like, I don't think, I mean, like, this idea of, like, oh, someone came in and stole my business idea. It's like, business is 99% perspiration, 1% inspiration. So I'm not really worried about that. Because I also believe in myself, and I believe that I'll be able to continue to innovate And that basically anyone who copies me, I'm actually banking on people copying me because they're going to end up doing my marketing for me. And I've set that up in an interesting way. But I don't know, it's interesting. Like, I think that it's very interesting to just kind of release all this information because it's the opposite of what everyone else is doing. At the very least, when everyone goes right, go left. So I'm just going to see, like, I'm not going to make some business course. I'm not going to make some, like, mentorship program for business. I'm just releasing all the information on my YouTube channel. And, yeah, I like that. I like that better because that way I can focus on creating more things. And I can just keep on creating more things. And I think that the world, human consciousness, the collective unconscious, rewards people who create things, because I think that creating things is like the essence of all of this. I think that if you can create things, you can show other people how to create things, and the efficacy of doing so, then you'll end up living in a very nice existence. And I think that moves faster than the people who would use the information you share to do bad. I think that it does. I think that in general, I don't know. I won't pontificate about the origins of human evil, but I think this is a good place to end the video.